fellow truth seekers. Today I'd like to share a document with you. Last week I received a data dump, actually a series of documents, that are the most shocking evidence of the existence of adrenochrome I've ever seen. The volume is extensive and important to share, as it shows that it is highly unlikely that all these documents are falsified or created by a LARP. For those of you that do not know what adrenochrome is, it's a substance used as a drug and life elixir. The drug is the most expensive on the market and extremely popular amongst Hollywood stars. It is derived from blood of young donors, preferably below the age of 12 years old. The blood needs to contain the highest amount of adrenaline, for which the children are terrorized, raped, and tortured to raise their adrenaline level. When the child is in an extreme state of pain and fear, the blood is harvested. This happens in the so-called adrenochrome harvesting sites, on an industrial scale and within a worldwide network, as the documents that I will share in this video will point out. It started with this letter that was sent to a German blogger. Dear Mr. Schaefer, I'm sending you the photocopies and printouts because I am afraid. I ordered USB sticks at Amazon and received them last week. One stick had an opened packaging and there was data on it, PDF texts. At first I wanted to send the stick back, but then I thought, no, let's first see what's on it. I do not understand English very well, but what I understand is that it was a list of abducted children. Those are probably caught and abused. It is terribly sad. A company called CYM runs scams and evaluates children. They offer the adrenochrome and sell it. Disposal means elimination. There are hundreds of pages and I can only print out a few. There are also lists of names and photos of adults. I think that these are the people who keep the children captive. So she sent these files to this blog because he was writing about Q and Trump's plan. I cannot send an email because I'm really afraid, and I think that these are terrible killers that torture the small children, just like Q also writes. I've been reading about Q for a long time. Please find the possibility to publish this on your blog or on a website. I've checked the names, etc., etc. I've looked up a few of them, not all of them. And these companies, they seem so serious. Can you give the list to Mr. Trump, who will hopefully get them out of their misery? I'm really afraid, and in case this letter gets intercepted, they cannot find my name because my son is about the same age as these poor children. It's signed by Steffi, and the PS is, if I have to send more, then I must be careful. Please write on your Hominibus website, like, Steffi, contact me. Then I see that I can answer. So this is the first document that was found on this USB stick. It is a document by the CYM Corporation, an inmate report. Here are the names of the children, the birthday. This child is 6 years old. the blood type, in custody for this number of months. So this child has been in custody for almost 2 years. There are also children that are in custody for 3 years. The adrenochrome quality, the sites, the camps, and I will get into that in the presentation a bit further on. The year when they are planned to be disposed, whether they are suicidal or not. So these children of 12 years old and younger, many of them are suicidal. The country of origin, the daily quota, which is dazzling to me, 25 daily quotas, and the inmate number. This is page 1 out of 12 pages, and it's pretty recent. It's printed in June 1st, 2020. This goes on and on and on. These names need to be searched in a database, police database, CPS database. This is the volume of documents. And let's go to the next page. This is a summary. No, wait, this is a summary. The CYM Corporation Production Report, raw adrenochrome production. These are the locations of the camps, the origin of the countries where these children are abducted, the number of inmates. You can see it's large volumes, the production in milligrams, and the average age. This is the adrenochrome production report per child. These are the names, date of birth, age, inmate number, name of the camp in use for this number of months, captured in country of origin, and the year when they are planned to be disposed. Part 2 of the production data, the blood type, suicidal or not. If marked yes, isolate subject and increase production. These people have no empathy. The daily production and type of torture. This is really shocking. Children come from Costa Rica, incarceration facility. I think this is the abbreviation of Guantanamo Bay. Surprising, because the bad guys were supposed to be locked up there. Apparently not. And there's many, many more captured from the United States, Canada. And again, I will go a little bit further, faster through these documents, but there's many, many, many documents. And another thing that is interesting to point out, that these forms have been filled in with a typewriter, and you can tell because the print of each letter is slightly different, which is a characteristic of a typewriter, an old-fashioned one, to avoid a digital paper trail. I'll show you the volume here. So these are all the forms. There are many. It's huge. So this is the disposal report by the CYM Corporation. In the first quarter of 2019, this number of children were disposed. In 2019 total, almost 400 children were disposed. I guess this is the adrenochrome quota or quality. When children have a B quality, they will be disposed. This is a more detailed disposal report, page 1 out of 8. Name of the child, date of birth. So this child is 8 years old. To be disposed, it was disposed in the first quarter of 2019. This child is 7 years old. And again, this just goes on and on and on. These are the locations of the adrenochrome harvesting sites. United States Army Special Medical Corps, Personnel Performance Report, center name, that's the camp name, and rank. Some sort of diagram that I do not completely understand. It's related to the personnel and the performance. Camp Anza, Camp Callan. Please note these names because these are significant. Camp Kearney, Camp Kohler, Camp Lawrence J. Hearn, Camp Lockett, Camp McQuaid, Camp Santa Anita, Camp Sealy, Camp Stoneman, Camp Young. Now, if you look at these names, for instance, Camp Callan, it was a United States training center operational during World War II. It was located in San Diego, California, and the facility was closed shortly after the war, and a few traces of the base remain. This is what it looked like at the time. But apparently, according to these documents, these camps are still operational. This is Camp Anita, the way it looked in the Second World War. This is another camp that is listed in these documents, Fort Point, and according to Google Maps, the location is just below the Golden Gate Bridge, and I think this is this building, I'm not sure. There are all these deserted places. Actually, this is a museum, so could also point out to the underground facilities. Camp Stoneman used to be a United States Army military facility in Pittsburgh, California. Also closed down. So that's a pattern. Another pattern is that their location is near national parks, very deserted areas. Fort Ord, California, near Monterey Bay, and I will get back to Monterey Bay in a minute. I don't know where the fort exactly is. This area is, there are many locations that are called Fort Ord, but there's also a national park here. So the secluded area, Fort de John, very desolated. And this is a list of closed military installations in Closed. And if you look at the list, it's identical with the names in these documents. Camp Anza, Camp Callan, Camp Kearney, Kohler, Lockett, Santa Anita, Stoneman, Fort Ord, Fort Point, Presidio of San Francisco. This list is identical with this list. So I suspect that all these closed military installations throughout the US are all still operational, either above ground or below ground. And again, this is extensive, page 5 out of 8. We'll go fast forward. This is a huge document. And whatever this is a professional organization and big scale. The CYM Caring Corporation. Caring is youth. Youth is money. Money is freedom. Well, freedom not for the children, for sure. Note of promotion. Lance Walls works at Camp Callan as a warden, senior warden, or leading warden, assigned to CYM Corp, New York, warden in adrenochrome harvesting site, AHS, or another function. I would like to point out this contact information. In Monterey, California, I'll go back to the military camps. This is the same address as this. And you can find this at installationsmilitary1source.mil. And this is an official organization that helps mediate American military to provide housing, also connected to these locations. What I find shocking is if you look at these documents and these pictures, I mean, this looks like a very young, nice girl. Why is she working at these camps? According to this document, needs to be investigated. Another thing I like to point out is this location of the address on the letterhead. The CYM Corporation headquarters, 725 Fifth Avenue, New York, office 292. That's the Trump Tower, 725 Fifth Avenue. But what's interesting is that Benjamin Fulford wrote in his report of September 28th that there were some arrests made in regards to this data dump, and that this shop, Abercrombie and Fitch Kids on Fifth Avenue, was a facade, a cover-up for this organization, and it's actually right across from Trump Tower. So the Trump Tower address might also be a smokescreen. I mean, it threw me off at first because I thought that's kind of odd that the Trump Tower is listed on there. But there's hundreds of offices, and you can hide things in plain sight and also use it as a smokescreen that eventually could point at Trump. So there's different explanations for this. Then this address is also interesting. Deliveries, 200 Forbes, St. Annapolis in, I think it's Maryland. I'm not sure. And that's this address, and it's a medical building, and apparently it's a pediatrician office. So they need to do some explanation why their address is showing up on this letterhead. So there's all these personnel. This is another thing I'd like to point out. The CYM is a registered trademark. Register number 5475570. Now, if you go to the registration of the trademarks, this number is the registration of the word mark CYM. Now, if you register a trademark, you register either the word mark or the logo separately or combined, and preferably both, because that gives you more protection. Now, what's interesting, so this is not the logo, but it's actually the way it's written down with which characters, the character mark. What's interesting is that it's allocated to the category restaurant services. And the registrant is Limited Liability Company, Pennsylvania, 4658 G Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, this address lists 4 companies that have the same address: MRP LLC, HP Platano Inc., CYM Island Kitchen, La Tierra del Chicharrón. Now these two is a restaurant in Philadelphia. And at first glance, it's a normal, out-of-the-ordinary restaurant that serves Caribbean food. Island Kitchen, Chicharrón y Más. And, you know, the CYM Island Kitchen is related to the CYM and the CYM Island Kitchen. Seems odd at first that they would list it as a restaurant. The CYM trademark registration is intended to cover the category of restaurant services, but based on these documents, they're involved in adrenochrome production. This is the CYM Chicharrón restaurant. It's in a very rundown neighborhood in Philadelphia. As you can see, they have a large storage space with ventilation shafts on top. Now, you have to realize that adrenochrome, the fresh liquid form, needs to be cooled. So whenever packages are sent, they need to be attached to a cooling unit and a battery. Now, if you deliver something like that at a restaurant, where there's a large storage space, nobody would think something about it. And also when people come to pick up packages, nobody would think anything about it. So I think this is a cover. But let's go back to the presentation. These are the personnel reports, notes of promotion. And again, it's many pages. And these names need to be investigated. I haven't been able to find a trail because usually more people with the same name pop up and you can't find these pictures. So I haven't been able to find a match. So a forensic detective needs to look at this. This is the CYM Corporation Personnel Report in detail. You see the names here, the ranks, date of birth, the camps where they work. You see Camp Santa Anita, Camp Callan, Fort Ord, Camp Stoneman. I think this is just California, these files. And again, it's just goes on and on and on. So there's a lot of people working there in this company. A lot of people. In the data dump, there was also a printout of an email to the legal department of George C. Scouts with a satellite image regarding the orderly disposal of human remains. Please note that burial site number 9 is now clearly visible on satellite imagery. Can anyone conceal it better? The fence alone won't be sufficient. So there's at least 9 burial sites. That's pretty shocking. This is a letterhead sent to other companies, whether these are distributors or clients, it's unclear. Pretty recent, July 5th. Please find enclosed our confidential new detainee and production reports as follows. Production of raw adrenochrome per detention center with average age of detainees. List of detainees used for production, duration of custody and scheduled disposal date. Note that the column suicide only states suicide attempts. A finished suicide would appear in the disposal report, not enclosed. The disposal report is what I showed you earlier. The price list of 2020. The quality per 100 milligram, almost 2000. When the quality is below B00, B minus minus, the children will be disposed. Please note, check or cash in advance, checks made payable for CYM Corporation Special Interest Division. C.S. Yorrington, CEO and founder of CYM. I looked up this name and doesn't pop up. It looks like this is a professional organization and they have some IT people and hackers working for them, making sure that the digital trail is, people are not trackable. And again, this is many letters sent to companies, also in the UK, Liverpool, Manchester, Liverpool. That's a lot of documents for a LARP to falsify and to create. I think this is the real deal, to be honest. Comptroller report. Page 1 out of 35. Some sort of list with all different codes that I do not understand. Abbreviations I do not understand. These are also filled in or created by an old-fashioned typewriter. Now, which company do you still know nowadays that works with an old-fashioned typewriter? This is very voluminous. This was part 1. In part 2, I will go into the international network, documents from Germany, the UK, and links to China. Please download the files and store them in a safe place. Make sure they do not disappear. Share far and wide. You can download the files at this address, which will allow you to open the files in Telegram. If you do not have the Telegram app, you can download all the files here directly. Benjamin Fulford, in his September 28th report, also put a link, an archived link, but it only makes you download the first file. But help to expose these crimes. These crimes can only exist in the dark. Let's bring this to the light. And by exposing it, we will make it stop. Thanks for watching. This is part 2 of the data dump in regards to adrenochrome harvesting. If you haven't seen part 1, please go and check on this channel for part 1. I would like to go into some other documents that are related to Germany, the UK, with links to China. This is one of the documents that was on the USB stick that was deliberately leaked, I'm sure, that lists these hospitals in Germany. There's the clinic ID number in this column, the name of the hospitals, University Clinic, Krankenhaus is hospital. So there's the hospital in Tübingen, in Mannheim, Baden, Weingarten, Ulm. These are all cities in Germany. Now there's a specific person listed. So this is a female, 8 years old, blood type, delivered in 2017, and the price. So it looks like there's victims also connected to these hospitals. Very, very concerning. Um, there's other lists here. Confidential contact visitation by CYM Germany. I don't know what this abbreviation means. Page 1 from 40 pages. Also pretty recently printed out in 5th of September 2020. ID number in this column, the department, the zip code and town, organizations, I'm not sure what these abbreviations stand for, the username and the contact information, probably a phone number, I'm not sure, and angefangen seit means started since, and these are this hospital, I guess, is started from 2009, but there's also ones that started in 1997. So this is just contact information by the key people, maybe. And there's many documents for this. You can see how many lists there are. This is another type of document by CYM Deutschland. This is an abbreviation that indicates that it's an officially listed, registered company. And I looked up the registration in the Unternehmenregister. That's the official listing of companies. There's a CYM popping up, and actually in various cities, CYM in Mainz, different listings, CYM Handel in Bremen, and then in another document there's a postal box in Berlin. This is a limited liability company, CYM UG, located in Bahnhofplatz number 1 in Mainz. This is actually the train station. I'm not sure if there are offices above the train station, but it could also be a fake address, just to have an address listed in these files in the registration. So this form is related to South Germany. This is the organization, the medical organization, the type of the blood type, whether it's a boy or a girl. They started out in 2007. These columns are kept empty. These particular children started in 2017. This is the money that is involved. It's unclear to me whether they are paying this or receiving this, but there's hundreds and thousands of euros involved per organization. There's hospitals, medical centers, clinics. And again, these are files and files and files. If you download the files yourself, and there's a link at the end of the video, you can search for this in detail. But it's pretty shocking. I mean, the volume of this, it just goes on and on and on. Just fast forward. Millions of euros involved. It's a big company, big business, I mean. This is the second letter of Steffi. Steffi is a pseudonym, I think. She writes, I don't think there's much more on the stick. I copied it and put it away safely. If something happens to me, then it goes to the Russian embassy in Berlin. That has already been taken care of, from what I understand from the blog of the German Patriots. It's been sent to the American and Russian embassy. More forms with codes, different codes in the sector of biopharmaceuticals, more codes, region, area in UK, code and code description. So there's all these codes that are used to administrate this business. And I think these documents are added on this USB stick to tell a story. So this is not an accidental leak. I think this is a deliberate leak done by somebody who wanted to expose this and decided to do it this way. Now this is an interesting thing. This is a shipping form by Kühne & Nagel. That's like the shipping company like DHL or FedEx. Sent from a postal box in Munich. Sent by CYM Deutschland, postal box in Berlin. And this is very interesting. It is sent to the Department of Health and Social Care, which is the Ministry of Health in the United Kingdom. Why is the Ministry of Health ordering adrenochrome, a cooler packet? Do not open by customs. Do not to be disconnected from battery. Valuable natural product. Keep cool under all circumstances. They've got some explanation to do. Then these are also lists that are added to the data files with ID codes, other codes, unit names, more codes that I do not understand, but these are products, body ventilation system, body armor, body armor, weird products, X-ray security. Now I looked up a few of these codes, and every time I looked up that code, I came across a link of WikiLeaks. And so all these codes are in the WikiLeaks files related to the Iraqi war, and they are a reference to shipments to military units, so military shipments. And that sort of goes back to the military installations, the locations of these camps. So there's all these products that are listed, many body ventilation systems. Does that refer to underground activities? I'm not sure. Toolkit, body fender. Why was it added in this data dump related to adrenochrome harvesting? X-ray security body scannings. Medical bag. Sandbag. Cameras. Really weird. These were printouts that were also added on the USB stick, all linking to the madeinchina.com website. Depending on the product or the category, you go to a subsite, but the main site is always made-in-china.com. This product page is related to a plasma torch head. I don't know why it's added in here. It's a bit freaky, a bit scary. Many pages that list hand sanitizers. I don't understand why that was added. There seems to be a story behind it that I haven't figured out what it means, because there's many pages that doesn't make sense. This is a bit more morbid. Medical dead body bags. Are these body bags ordered? I don't know. All made in China. Now this is very interesting, this product, because I went to the Made in China website and made some screenshots. And this particular product is related to carbazogrome, and it's a hemostatic, an agent that will cease the blood flow from an open wound. It's this one. And it's actually, I think, a byproduct made of adrenochrome, sold as a powder. Carbazochrome, the semi-carbazone of adrenochrome. And if you have any questions, you can contact the lovely Mrs. Cherry Feng for more questions. Made in China also sells adrenochrome in powder form. It's all hidden in plain sight. So that's made in China. And many hand sanitizers printouts. There needs to be something behind that as well. I don't know what it is. This is the last file that I want to point out, and this is actually even more disturbing than the things I've showed you so far. This is a CYM hunting schedule for 2021. Now, this relates to the children that are supposed to be disposed. There have been several witnesses, survivors of these human hunting parties that have come forward to talk about these hunting parties where children are hunted as a form of sport or entertainment. The first time these stories appeared was during the Marc Dutroux case in Belgium, the child molester that abducted children for the royal elite. Two witnesses of the ITCCS, Toos Nijenhuis and Annemarie van Blijenburg, also testified about these human hunting parties. Fiona Barnett also testified about this taking place in the US. They take place in the US, they take place in the Netherlands, in the neighborhood of Zwolle, near the Veluwe, in Belgium. It implicates the royal families, the top politicians, and these are lists by CYM, the hunting schedule for the United States. So these are listed per state for each month through the summer. And these are the hunting parties that were planned for next year. And that's huge as well. It's 15 pages. I mean, this is really sickening. You can see the volume of this. So 600 children, or 600, no, let's say 600 hunting parties are supposed to take place. And are the names of the children that were planned to be hunted. Riley Charles, he's 12 years old, blood type, um, Alaska, I think this is. This is the camp where they are imprisoned. To be hunted in April the 21st, etc., etc. You also find very young children, like 7 or 6 years old. That's because the elite likes to order specific children that have a specific look or age or sex that they like to have participate in these hunting parties, but also children that are of no value anymore for these this industry. They're disposed this way. And again, this just goes on and on and on. No matter how disturbing this is, we need to bring this to the light. And I encourage you to download the files yourself, store them in a safe place, share them far and wide. A big thank you to German Q Patriot for sharing this. Thank you to Steffi for being brave and doing the right thing. This is the link where these files can be downloaded. They open up in Telegram. If you don't have the Telegram app, you can download all the files here, or go to the Benjamin Fulford site. He wrote something about this data dump in the September 28th message, and he put an archived link there, but it only allows you to download the first PDF, and this is actually all the PDFs. These crimes can only exist in the dark. We need to bring this into the light. By exposing it, we make it stop. Thanks for watching.